Welcome back to a new episode of Wheels of History. Before we tell you everything about today's protagonist, we invite you to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one. For you, it's just a small gesture, but for us, it's essential to continue sharing the stories of men and machines that marked an era. Today, we're not going to the States, but we're still talking about California. One of their most iconic motorcycles from Moto Guzzi. The story of the California is one that's told with pleasure because it was born from a clear idea and developed through plot twists worthy of an adventure novel. A story that is also the story of the V7. It all begins with an official need. A strong and reliable motorcycle is needed for the Italian police, a request that came all the way from the Quirinale. Moto Guzzi responds with a 700cc twin-cylinder engine, but the project soon reveals its limits. The engine struggles to support the massive structures required by on-duty officers, but in Mandello they don't give up. They keep working on the concept, and by the late 1960s, commercial evolutions arrive. The V7 Special with its 757cc engine and the 850cc V850 GT. With these new foundations, the idea of a service motorcycle comes back forcefully, and this time the target is no longer just Italy but America, the land of vast spaces and endless roads. The operation is, first and foremost, a commercial one. Joe and Mike Berliner, Moto Guzzi importers for the States, smell a major opportunity. In front of them is a twin-cylinder bike that is not only robust but also astonishingly agile and quick. The V7 has muscle and class, and the Berliners managed to convince the leadership of the Los Angeles Police Department to give it a chance. The LAPD officers, used to the massive Harley-Davidsons, mount up and are instantly blown away. The bike responds to commands with feline quickness, accelerates energetically, and maintains impeccable stability. Even the mechanics soon take notice. The 90-degree transverse V-twin is a masterpiece of accessibility and rational design. Inspections and repairs are lightning fast, drastically reducing downtime. The enthusiasm is such that Moto Guzzi joins an exclusive club. The motorcycle manufacturer is invited to compete for a supply contract for the LAPD. We're talking about 10 units, few in number but hugely significant. In Mandello, they know this is a crucial match to play at their best, and they prepare a special version of the V7, increasing the displacement to 750cc. The motorcycle is equipped with everything needed: tall windshield, side bags, auxiliary lights, radio, and siren. The V7 Police is born. Put through a series of grueling tests, the Guzzi not only keeps up, it humiliates the competition. The American giants, the British, and the Japanese fall behind. For the first time in history, an Italian brand snatches a contract from Harley-Davidson on its own turf. A feat worthy of the history books. In Los Angeles, they don't trust miracles and send a tough man to Mandello, Sergeant Scotty Henderson, tasked with supervising the production. He's not there just to oversee. He has full authority to request custom modifications. Thus, the V7 Police is further refined. The side stand becomes operable without dismounting, the gear shifter is moved to the left, and the windshield is replaced with a bulletproof Lexan shield. Henderson oversees everything up close, and years later he would proudly recall, "In Mandello, I could ask for anything, and I saw the bike come to life before my eyes." The summer of 1969 marks the official entry of the V7 Police into the LAPD fleet, which already includes over 400 motorcycles. Among young officers, it immediately becomes a cult favorite: light, fast, agile in traffic. It's the choice of those who want something more than just a standard service ride. The Berliners have won their bet. Requests multiply, and the California Highway Patrol, the legendary Chips, get in line to order more. Even civilian motorcyclists begin to take interest in this Italian-born bike. The seed has been planted, and the harvest will be rich. The echo of the American triumph spreads like a long wave, bouncing off the pages of the specialized press. The V7, already fresh from a restyling as the 750 Special, turns into a legend. Among enthusiasts and dealers, a sweet restlessness grows. The fever of those who sense the birth of a myth even before it unfolds. At Moto Guzzi, they get the message: they can't leave the old continent empty-handed. And so, in the spring of 1970, the V7 750 California is born. Beneath its clothing, its soul is refined. The California stands apart from the Special with details that make a difference. A steering damper enhances stability. The final drive ratio, from 8/35 to 8/37, changes the response of the transmission, and the barrel-shaped exhausts give the twin-cylinder engine a fuller, deeper tone. In effect, the new California inherits the DNA of the V7 Police, the bike that earned the trust of officers on the streets of Los Angeles. Its presence on California's highways serves as a springboard for sales of the V7 Ambassador, the American sister model that's all the rage overseas. This isn't just a variant, but an entirely new creature shaped by American inspiration. The fuel tank is redesigned, the dashboard renewed, the footboards widened, the handlebars open wide in an imposing ox horn shape. The seat becomes sumptuous and the side stand is made more practical. All of this contributes to the California's success in the USA. The image of a policeman astride the Mandello-made motorcycle with the San Francisco Bay and Alcatraz in the background travels across the states. Demand skyrockets and the California becomes a legend. The twin-cylinder born on the shores of Lake Como, already celebrated in America, now enters a new season of success, following in the tracks of the V7 Special and the 850 GT. Many say that the real secret of the V7 California lies in its frame. Derived from the V7 Special, it offers ride qualities and safety unheard of in cruisers of that era. American roads thus discover a motorcycle that doesn't just cruise smoothly. It hugs the road with exemplary stability. In the autumn of 1971, at the Milan Bicycle and Motorcycle Show, all eyes are on another queen, the V850 California. Lino Tonti, the engineer who gave Guzzi the long stride of modernity, worked with method and vision. From the heart of the V7 Sport, he grafts in refined solutions, reinforced crankcases, a robust transmission, gears built to last. The twin-cylinder engine grows to 844 cc and delivers 64 horses at 6,500 revolutions per minute. These are numbers that cement the California as the new queen of the category, an absolute benchmark for power, reliability, and performance. The California had already made its mark across the ocean. In an America dominated by Harley-Davidsons and their Japanese clones, Guzzi brings something new, maintaining the cruiser spirit but with a distinctly different style. Its air-cooled V-twin may resemble the Harley, but with a fundamental difference. The cylinders are set at 90 degrees and positioned transversely relative to the direction of travel. Add to that a shaft drive, another distinctive feature that makes it unique in the motorcycle world. Moto Guzzi is now under the control of SEIM, Società Esercizio Industrie Moto Meccaniche, itself in the hands of IMI, a consortium of banks. The crisis of the 1960s is now behind, and the brand is being revived thanks to the great V-twins and the Dingo, the moped that made generations fall in love. America is a vital market, so much so that Guzzi has already produced dedicated versions of the V7 Special Ambassador and the 850 GT Eldorado, variants nearly identical to the European ones, save for a few details. After all, the American motorcyclist is a spoiled child, used to seeing himself in the products he buys. He wants a bike made just for him, so at the specific request of the Berliner importers, Guzzi gets to work. Out go the rubber foot pegs, in come large, flat footboards, the handlebars, tall and wide, exaggerated for us but perfect for the States. The dual seat, replaced by a two-tone saddle with a chrome grab rail, a wink to the Harleys. The instrumentation? Minimalist, a generously sized speedometer embedded in a polished metal dashboard and surrounded by colored lights. And then there's the side stand, operable while staying in the saddle, an idea from the American police. And the gear lever on the left, brake on the right. The first versions carry over the chassis from the V7 Special and feature the 750cc engine. But in 1972 comes the upgrade to 850cc. The earliest models display a twin leading shoe front brake, later evolved into a four-leading shoe setup. Midway through the production cycle, the black tank with white pinstripes gives way to a new livery with the Moto Guzzi logo prominently displayed on the sides. It's not just the engine that makes the difference. The 5-speed gearbox is a first for this category. The dual front drum brakes ensure strong stopping power, and the adjustable shock absorbers refine the ride. And then there's the style. The V850 California is a motorcycle with a powerful identity, a manifesto on two wheels. The public loves it. It captures the hearts of Americans who rechristen it the Eldorado 850 and breaks through in Europe, dominating the German and French markets. In 1973, Moto Guzzi introduces the 850T. In 1974, it sets a record that seals its legacy. Over 12,000 units sold, 4,000 of which go to the United States alone. These are impressive numbers, especially when viewed in the context of the time. The energy crisis is choking the market, the Japanese giants are advancing relentlessly, and the British motorcycle industry is floundering. Yet in this turbulent scenario, the V850 California secures its place in history. By 1975, with over 100,000 units produced between the V7 and V850, Mandello del Lario turns a new page. Moto Guzzi, now under the De Tomaso Group, plays its trump card. The 850T3 California is born. The name suggests continuity, but the substance is new, starting with the revolutionary integrated braking system. A stroke of genius ahead of its time, the system, an exclusive Moto Guzzi patent, reduces stopping distances and increases stability, offering a level of safety previously unknown. The frame, designed by engineer Tonti, is a closed double cradle structure that will also serve as the base for the sporty Le Mans. From this platform, a new California is born, updated in aesthetics without losing its identity. The heart of the beast also gets an upgrade. The twin-cylinder not only grows in power, reaching 68 horsepower, but also improves on the environmental front. Nearly 20 years ahead of European regulations, it adopts an exhaust gas recirculation system, a little celebrated but highly significant technical milestone. The styling follows the V7 Sports School, more modern and compact lines with tank and seat integrated according to the new trends in motorcycle design, but times are changing. The Japanese industry is advancing with the force of a tidal wave, and while the California remains an icon, its market begins to shrink. Production hovers around 4,000 units, a respectable figure but far from the glory days. But Alejandro de Tomaso, the Italian-Argentinian entrepreneur, has ambitious ideas and doesn't give up. In 1981, he introduces the new engine nicknamed Testa Quadra, square head, replacing the earlier Testa Tonda, round head. The name comes from the shape of the cooling fins and valve covers, previously rounded, now squared off to improve cooling. That same year marks another decisive step. The California becomes a standalone model with the launch of the California II, powered by the 948cc engine from the Le Mans 1000. The new California features alloy wheels, new silencers, redesigned fenders, new side panels, and more comprehensive instrumentation. The formula proves successful. The bike remains in production until 1987, with a single variant developed for the US market equipped with an automatic transmission. The California II surpasses 10,000 units sold, establishing itself with an unexpected weapon: its price. In 1981, priced at 6,075,000 lire, roughly 3,142 euros, it's the most affordable 1,000cc motorcycle on the Italian market. A bike of real substance backed by proven mechanics and a name steeped in legend. In 1987, the California changes skin. The Model 3 leaves behind the classic forms of the T3 and California 2 and fully embraces the custom aesthetic. The fuel tank stretches into a generous 25-liter teardrop shape. The side panels blend in harmoniously, and the split saddle offers the passenger the comfort of a backrest. The floorboards make a return, absent since the days of the V850, while the chrome details, enhanced by the engine's glossy black finish, add a touch of refinement. More elegant and expensive than its predecessor, the California 3 also takes on a grand touring role in the version with full fairing, capable of devouring long distances with aristocratic poise. In 1991, to seal its legend, a special version is released to celebrate Moto Guzzi's 70th anniversary, a tribute to a history forged in steel and passion. After 7,000 units, the California 3 gives way to a new queen, the 1100. Its beating heart grows to 1,064cc, pushing the big Guzzi past 73 horsepower and nearing 200 kilometers per hour. Its character remains that of the 3, with subtle tweaks to the lighting, silencers, and graphics. but it's the blend of performance, comfort, and commanding presence that truly sets this California apart. By the end of the millennium, electronic fuel injection arrives, along with tubeless spoked wheels and a new fork with 45mm stanchions. The California EV enters the scene. More of an evolution than a simple update, this model brings with it new connecting rods and, most notably, electronic fuel injection. Refined to the point of making the engine more responsive and smoother, it's instantly recognizable. More rounded valve covers compared to its carbureted predecessors, tubeless spoked wheels, and a new fork with beefy 45mm stanchions. Its character remains as bold and majestic as ever. In 1999, the EV Special debuts, a tribute to the cruiser spirit that sets the tone. It features a rear fender fit for a true steel steed, a two-piece saddle for rider and passenger, redesigned footrests, and new lighting units that shine with novelty. From this more luxurious variant come setups that speak different design languages. The Stone and the Jackal focus on minimalism, while the EV80 is a monument to history, celebrating Moto Guzzi's 80th anniversary with Frau leather saddlebags and a seat and grips covered in the same fine material. The final chapter of the EV is written in 2003 with the touring version. Hydraulic lifters, a three-way catalytic converter with lambda sensor, and oil-jet piston cooling. In terms of numbers, the California EV series far surpasses 20,000 units. In March 2006, the curtain rises in Mandello del Lario on the California Vintage. It's a leap into memory, a direct homage to the 1972 V850 California. Its livery, rich in chrome and nostalgic flair, wins the hearts of enthusiasts. Custom versions and celebratory editions are not lacking. In 2008, at the request of Ewan McGregor, it appears in a pearlescent white finish. That same year, 24 California vintage motorcycles in carrozzeria configuration enter service to escort the President of the Italian Republic, following in the tracks of the mighty 1000s used since 1994. The highway patrol version is the one supplied to police forces. The year 2009 sees the launch of the Aquila Nera, a Black Eagle, a more essential version that joins the vintage. 2 years later, in 2011, comes the California 90, a collector's item celebrating Moto Guzzi's 90th anniversary. On September 15th, during the Moto Guzzi World Days, the California 90 is unveiled in a numbered edition, sealing the union of myth and celebration. The California is also the motorcycle used by the carrozzieri during presidential escorts and parades. In 2012, 24 units are delivered, and so before passing the torch to the new 1400, presented in Miami and sold from 2013 in touring and custom versions, with a new 1380cc 96GP engine. The California concludes its cycle just as it began, with a version dedicated to a special core. In January 2012, 24 unique units, including 6 sidecars, 3 right-hand drive and 3 left-hand drive, are delivered to the Royal Guards of Jordan. These are jewels of steel and passion, with a redesigned tank and a vibrant burgundy livery embellished with royal crests. The ceremony is held in Amman in the presence of His Majesty King Abdullah II and Roberto Colaninno, chairman of the Piaggio Group. It is the final bow of a Queen of the Road, ready to make way for a new dynasty. The California's story arc is no mere footnote. It became a pillar of Moto Guzzi production for over a decade, spawning version after version, always true to itself, always ready to embody the myth. The California crossed eras, trends, and industrial transformations without ever losing its essence. Born as a service bike, grown into an elite cruiser, it managed to become a timeless icon, with its mighty twin-cylinder engine and an iron-solid soul. A true Guzzi in the purest sense of the term. At its debut, it might have seemed like a quirky styling exercise, a flamboyant twist on Mandello's already noble V-twins, with a name that hinted at an overseas calling and a setup more suited to Route 66 than the lakes of Lombardy. And yet, in time, it was precisely this generous machine that single-handedly carried the fate of the Mandello-based company on international markets, becoming a cornerstone of the brand. Back then, the motorcycle scene didn't offer today's encyclopedic variety, with sport bikes, nakeds, cruisers, tourers and enduros vying for showroom space. In the 1970s, there were just maxis, nothing more. They were sold as either sport or grand touring bikes, but the fundamental changed little. Even Honda, the Japanese giant already poised for global domination, had just one 750 in its catalogue, the legendary CB4. Other brands, whether domestic or foreign, followed the same product logic, with the sole and massive exception of Harley-Davidson. Even then, the Milwaukee company was pushing its Electra Glide like a two-wheeled leviathan, a revered object in its homeland but a hard sell in Europe. Sky-high price, trailer-worthy weight, modest performance, and questionable reliability. Who, on this side of the Atlantic, would seriously consider buying such a behemoth? And yet it was from there that Moto Guzzi drew inspiration for its California. Without copying, mind you. In Mandello, they didn't just imitate others' ideas, they anticipated the times. No one until then had thought of a European alternative to the queen of the American highways. When in the early 1980s the Japanese industry realized the commercial potential of the custom segment, they had few qualms about cloning Milwaukee's bikes. But Guzzi, as often happens with pioneers, got there first. Similar, yes, but by no means the same as a Harley, the California managed to win over even those who would never have dreamed of parking an Electra Glide in their garage. It retained the solid soul of the V7 Special, offering cornering stability unknown to the competition. The engine, already known for its robustness and generous torque, proved even more reliable than its American counterpart. And, not a minor detail, the price didn't require taking out a mortgage or sacrificing an inheritance. You could find one at your trusted local dealership, often run by families long tied to the Guzzi tradition. In uncertain times, the California was a sure thing. A faithful steed, capable of devouring kilometers with that laid-back kind of class only well-born bikes can deliver. The California earned a great merit. It flung open the doors to a new way of riding, unknown in these parts until then. Gone was the obsession with speed, gone the fever for power, goodbye to the frantic battles between toll booths that had found new life with the arrival of multi-cylinder Japanese 2- and 4-stroke machines. In their place came a different idea. Relaxed travel, the pleasure of savoring the scenery aided by standard accessories, a comfortable riding position, protection from a large windshield, spacious panniers, and then the engine, generous yet frugal, ready to eat up the miles without wearing down its rider. In short, long-range touring with the assurance of arriving fresh and satisfied, maybe even dreaming of crossing California itself. We'll stop here and as always remind you that Guzzi engine parts and spares for other vintage motorcycles can be found at thekingofpiston.com. Wheels turn, stories endure, every motorcycle tells a journey and reveals an era. Until the next ride, always on two wheels, always with a piece of history to share.